Imagine a world where harmony between humans and nature is not just an ideal, but a practical reality. In a time of growing environmental crises and economic uncertainties, how can we cultivate food, build communities, and live in ways that sustain not only ourselves but also the planet? The answer may lie in a revolutionary movement that began in the 1970s, but whose relevance is perhaps deeper today than ever: permaculture. This integrated design system offers not only a way to produce food more sustainably, but also a model for living with the earth in a way that restores, rather than depletes, its resources. But what does permaculture really entail? And how can its principles be applied to address the contemporary challenges we encounter in our daily lives and agricultural practices? Permaculture is a system of agricultural and social principles aimed at creating sustainable, self-sufficient environments. It is based on observing and replicating the patterns and characteristics found in natural ecosystems. Developed in the 1970s by Bill Mollison and David Holmgren in Australia, the concept goes beyond simple gardening techniques, involving the planning of human habitats according to ethics and principles that promote sustainable living and interdependence between humans, plants, animals, and the water cycle. Permaculture, a term derived from permanent culture, has as its central goal to design agricultural and social systems that are sustainable, efficient, and self-sufficient, mimicking the dynamics and interrelationships observed in natural ecosystems. The idea of permanent culture extends beyond agricultural practices to include the socio-economic and cultural aspects of human life. Understanding the core principles of permaculture is crucial for various reasons, especially as we seek solutions to contemporary environmental, social, and economic challenges. The fundamental principles of permaculture can be divided into two main categories: ethics and design principles. Permaculture's ethical principles form the foundation upon which all its design principles and practices are built. These ethics are essential for guiding decisions and actions within the permaculture system, aiming to create sustainable and just environments. The first ethical principle of permaculture is care for the earth. Care for the earth is fundamental to permaculture, as it recognizes that the health of our systems and communities depends directly on the health of our planet. This principle involves preservation of natural systems, regeneration of degraded areas, and sustainable use of resources. The second ethical principle of permaculture is care for people. This principle focuses on maintaining and improving human and community well-being, recognizing that sustainable environments also depend on strong and resilient communities. This includes health and education, community support, and economic resilience. The third ethical principle of permaculture is fair share. Permaculture not only focuses on producing surplus, but also on the importance of sharing it fairly. This principle is crucial for promoting equity and social justice and includes equal distribution of resources, limitation of consumption, and community empowerment. These ethical principles not only provide a guide for agricultural and ecological practices, but also serve as a model for building more just and sustainable societies. They emphasize the interconnection between human well-being and planetary health, suggesting that caring for one necessarily includes and benefits the other. Permaculture's design principles are specific guidelines that direct how to construct and organize the environment efficiently and sustainably. So, now let's see what the design principles of permaculture are. The first principle is observe and interact. The permaculture design principle, observe and interact, emphasizes the importance of taking time to truly understand the environment around us before initiating any intervention or change. This is one of the fundamental principles in permaculture, as it lays the foundation for all subsequent decisions and designs. Careful observation allows permaculture practitioners to recognize nature's patterns and rhythms, identifying the unique characteristics and needs of a given ecosystem. This includes understanding natural cycles, relationships between species, and climatic and seasonal conditions. After observation, The principle encourages interaction, a process of actively engaging with the environment, adjusted based on the observations made. This can involve experimentation, continuous learning, and adaptation. In practical terms, observe and interact can lead to implementing techniques such as water management, designing water capture and irrigation systems that mimic natural flows observed in the landscape, maximizing efficiency and minimizing impact. This principle also promotes a deep respect and connection with nature, encouraging an approach of humility and constant learning. Instead of imposing predetermined solutions, permaculture practitioners are encouraged to develop solutions that naturally emerge from interaction with the environment. In this way, observe and interact not only guides the creation of ecologically harmonious systems, but also promotes a profound awareness and appreciation of the natural world. The second principle is catch and store energy. The permaculture design principle, catch and store energy, involves taking advantage of times of abundance to ensure resources are available during periods of scarcity. This principle is essential for creating resilient, sustainable systems that can operate independently of unstable flows of external resources. In a permaculture context, energy refers not only to electrical energy or fuels, but to any resource that sustains life, such as water, sunlight, wind, biomass, and even human energy. The goal is to capture these forms of energy when they are most available and store them efficiently for future use. This includes capturing sunlight for heating and electricity generation, collecting rainwater, such as using rooftops and cisterns, to store water during the rainy season for irrigation and other needs during drier periods, building thermal masses in buildings that can absorb heat during the day and release it at night, or using radiant floors to store and release heat slowly, generating biomass and silage during periods of abundance for soil enrichment or animal feed. Implementing this principle significantly contributes to reducing the ecological footprint of a permaculture system by reducing dependence on external sources, increasing resilience and adaptability, and enhancing efficiency and cost savings. The catch and store energy principle in permaculture promotes a more conscious and sustainable use of natural resources, ensuring not only the sustainability of the environment, but also the long-term economic viability and resilience of design systems. The third principle is obtain a yield. The permaculture design principle, obtain a yield, is a fundamental reminder that the systems we create should be productive and generate tangible benefits. This principle emphasizes the importance of designing and operating systems in a way that they not only sustain themselves, but also provide surpluses that can be used to improve the resilience and quality of life for those involved. In permaculture, the concept of yield goes beyond mere financial gain. It involves producing a variety of valuable resources such as food, energy, materials, and even community bonds and emotional well-being. Ensuring that each element of a system contributes in some way increases the overall efficiency and effectiveness of the system. This can include food production, renewable energy, and material resources. To maximize yields, it is essential that permaculture systems are designed with an understanding of how different components can interact synergistically. Producing yields also means building resilience within the system, such as through diversification and techniques of reuse and recycling. Obtain a yield also recognizes the importance of social and community benefits, such as educating the community about sustainable practices, creating a more informed and engaged environment, and distributing surpluses within the community to strengthen local networks. The principle obtain a yield encourages permaculture practitioners to view their systems holistically, ensuring that each component is both functional and beneficial. The idea is to create systems that sustain themselves and their users, promoting a continuous cycle of growth, learning, and prosperity. By applying this principle, permaculture manifests not only as an agricultural practice, but as a life philosophy that seeks a richer, more fulfilling existence in harmony with the natural environment. The fourth principle is apply self-regulation and accept feedback. The permaculture design principle, apply self-regulation and accept feedback, is essential for developing and maintaining sustainable and resilient systems. This principle emphasizes the importance of continually monitoring and adjusting practices based on the feedback the system provides. This principle is based on the idea that effective systems are adaptive and capable of adjusting based on both internal and external feedback. In the context of permaculture, this means continuous observation, feedback as a learning tool, and proactive self-regulation. Applying this principle can be achieved in various ways, all aimed at increasing the efficiency and sustainability of the system. For example, implementing small interventions to observe how systems respond, then adjusting practices based on the results to achieve more effective and sustainable management. Another concrete example, changing plantings based on soil feedback and the performance of previous crops to avoid the depletion of specific nutrients. Apply self-regulation and accept feedback embodies the essence of sustainability, a system's ability to learn from experience and adapt to new information and conditions. This principle not only ensures the long-term health and viability of permaculture systems, but also serves as a model for sustainable and responsive living practices in any context. The fifth principle is use and value renewable resources and services. The permaculture design principle, use and value renewable resources and services, is crucial for creating sustainable systems that minimize environmental impact while maximizing efficiency and resilience. This principle encourages the conscious use of resources that naturally regenerate, as well as the appreciation of ecosystem services that support life on the planet. This principle is based on the premise that we should reduce our dependence on finite and polluting resources, such as fossil fuels, and increase our use of renewable sources like solar, wind, and biomass energy. It applies not only to energy, but to all aspects of natural resources, including water, building materials, and even food production systems. Implementing this principle involves several strategies and techniques, such as renewable energy, sustainable water management, regenerative agriculture, and sustainable building materials. Adopting this principle offers several significant benefits, including reduced ecological footprint, economic resilience, and health and biodiversity. Use and value renewable resources and services is not only a smart design practice, it is a life philosophy that realigns our relationship with the natural world. By valuing and implementing solutions based on benign and regenerative resources, we can create systems that not only sustain but also regenerate the ecosystems in which they are embedded. This principle is vital for transitioning to a more sustainable future, where human consumption is in harmony with the planet's regenerative capacity. The sixth principle is produce no waste. The permaculture design principle, produce no waste, emphasizes the importance of creating systems that minimize environmental impact through the reduction, reuse, and recycling of materials. This principle is central to achieving sustainability, reflecting the notion that everything in a natural ecosystem has a purpose and nothing is wasted. Applying this principle can significantly transform the impact that human systems have on the environment. This principle is based on the observation that in nature, there is no waste. All byproducts of one process are resources for another process or organism. Thus, produce no waste involves rethinking our own consumption and production processes to close cycles and create circular systems, where the waste of one activity becomes input for another. Implementing this principle can be achieved through several effective strategies and practices, such as minimizing the use of resources and waste production from the design stage of a product or system. This includes choosing resource-efficient technologies and practices that reduce the need for external inputs. Reusing items in the same or new formats. This can include reusing packaging, repurposing structures, or using recovered building materials. Transforming waste into new products or materials. This goes beyond conventional recycling, such as paper or plastic, to include composting organic waste and creatively processing other materials. A concrete example of this principle would be reusing greywater to irrigate gardens. The produce no waste principle in permaculture is essential for building a more sustainable society. It challenges the conventional view of waste and promotes the adoption of a systemic model where each waste is seen as a valuable resource. The seventh principle is design from patterns to details. The permaculture design principle, design from patterns to details, encourages an approach to planning and developing systems by starting with a macro view, understanding the broad patterns, and only then moving on to more specific and detailed aspects. This method reflects an understanding that the most effective way to design sustainable and resilient systems is by imitating patterns observed in nature, which are already optimized for efficiency and functionality through millions of years of evolution. This principle is based on the idea that natural patterns, such as those found in forests, water bodies, and geological formations, provide efficient models for resource distribution, energy flow, and element interaction. By starting with these broad patterns, permaculture designers can ensure that the systems they create are in harmony with the larger environment, maximizing effectiveness and sustainability. To implement this principle in practice, it's necessary to observe and understand natural patterns present in the project area before any intervention. This can include wind, water, and terrain patterns. Use these patterns to inform the structure and allocation of resources. For example, the spiral pattern can be used in gardens to maximize planting area in a compact space. Ensure each part of the design contributes efficiently to the whole, modeling how elements in natural ecosystems support each other. Benefits of this principle: avoiding resource waste by ensuring the design is consistent with natural patterns, reducing the need for costly adjustments later. Systems designed with an understanding of broad patterns are generally more resilient to disruptions, as they are integrated more harmoniously with the local environment. Promoting sustainable resource use by respecting the limits and capacities of the local environment. The principle, design from patterns to details, is fundamental in permaculture because it offers a holistic approach that prioritizes efficiency and integration with natural environments. The eighth principle is integrate rather than segregate. The permaculture design principle, integrate rather than segregate, emphasizes the importance of creating systems where components work together, supporting one another to increase the overall efficiency and resilience of the system. This principle is a cornerstone for designing sustainable ecosystems that mimic the interdependence observed in natural ecosystems. Nature is a prime example of integration. In an ecosystem, there are no isolated components. All elements are interconnected, each playing roles that benefit the system as a whole. By adopting this approach in permaculture, the design seeks to replicate this interconnection, arranging elements so that each one contributes to the success of the others. Implementing this principle involves a series of strategies to ensure that elements within a permaculture system are placed and managed in ways that maximize their mutual benefits, such as element analysis, functional design, and zones of influence. Effective integration brings numerous environmental, economic, and social benefits, such as resource efficiency, systemic resilience, and reduction of labor and costs. Concrete examples of applying this principle: planting complementary crops together, like corn, beans, and squash, where each plant provides something that benefits the others, such as physical support, nitrogen fixation, or weed suppression. Integrating fish farming with plant cultivation, where water enriched by fish waste is used to irrigate and fertilize plants, which in turn purify the water for the fish. Designing residential areas close to gardens and animal production areas, facilitating care and maintenance while benefiting from easy access to fresh food. The principle, integrate rather than segregate, is essential for creating permaculture systems that are sustainable, efficient, and resilient. The ninth principle is use small and slow solutions. The permaculture design principle, use small and slow solutions, is an essential strategy for creating efficient, sustainable, and resilient systems. This principle encourages the development of systems on a manageable scale, with growth and expansion that occur gradually and thoughtfully. The idea is that smaller systems are easier to maintain, more adaptable to changes, and better at making efficient use of local resources. This principle is based on the observation that smaller, more controlled interventions often result in more robust systems that are less prone to catastrophic failures. In nature, slow and incremental processes result in complex and highly adaptive ecosystems. By adopting this approach in human systems, we can create solutions that are both practical and sustainable. Applying this principle can be done in various ways, depending on the context and specific goals. Develop systems that can start small and be expanded or replicated as needed. Choose technologies and practices that are appropriate to the local context, are easy to maintain with available resources and knowledge, and do not overload the capacity of the natural environment. Implement changes gradually to allow the system and its users to adapt and integrate new practices and technologies in a sustainable manner. Adopting small and slow solutions brings several significant benefits, including greater adaptability, resource efficiency, risk reduction, and learning and innovation. The principle of use small and slow solutions is crucial for creating permaculture systems that are sustainable, flexible, and efficient. By focusing on a smaller scale and incremental growth, this principle facilitates the creation of solutions that can be sustained over time with local resources, benefiting not only the environment, but also the communities that depend on it. The 10th principle is use and value diversity. The permaculture design principle use and value diversity reflects the understanding that diversity within ecological and human systems is fundamental to resilience, productivity, and sustainability. This principle encourages the development of systems that include a wide variety of elements, whether they are plants, animals, crops, cultural practices, or technological solutions, to enhance the system's ability to respond to environmental changes and challenges. Diversity in permaculture is understood on multiple levels, including biodiversity, crop diversity, agricultural practice diversity, and economic and social diversity. Diversity is a fundamental characteristic of natural ecosystems, providing them with flexibility and resilience, and allowing them to function and thrive even under variable and sometimes adverse conditions. Implementing this principle in practice can involve, for example, incorporating a variety of species into agricultural crops, agroforestry systems, and gardens. This includes planting a mix of perennial and annual species, edible and ornamental plants, native and adapted varieties. Diversity provides several benefits to permaculture systems, such as pest and disease resilience, productive stability, soil improvement and water use efficiency, and economic resilience. The principle use and value diversity is essential to permaculture design, reflecting the complexity and interconnectedness of natural ecosystems. By valuing and incorporating diversity, permaculture systems can become more resilient, productive, and sustainable, capable of withstanding and thriving amid the fluctuations and challenges of the natural world. The 11th principle is use edges and value the marginal. The permaculture design principle use edges and value the marginal focuses on the rich interactivity and potential productivity found at the interfaces or edges between different systems or elements. This principle recognizes that it is often in the transitions or boundary zones where the most dynamic and valuable processes and interactions occur. By exploring and valuing these areas, we can maximize the diversity and productivity of our systems. In ecology, the edges between different ecosystems, such as forests and fields, are areas of high biodiversity and biological activity. This concept is known as the edge effect. In permaculture, we apply this concept to increase the beneficial interactions between different system components, creating a more diverse and productive environment. Implementing this principle can take various forms depending on the context and specific design goals, such as designing layouts that increase the amount of edge available, using techniques like creating wavy or fractal shapes in planting beds, ponds, and pathways. Identifying and creating transition zones between different land uses, such as agricultural and forested areas, to take advantage of the synergies between them. Engaging and integrating marginalized groups or unique cultural practices into the wider community to enrich the social and cultural fabric of the system. Valuing edges provides several significant benefits for permaculture systems and communities, including increased diversity and resilience, niche opportunities, and interaction and learning. The principle use edges and value the marginal is essential for creating permaculture systems that are vibrant, productive, and resilient. By focusing on transition zones and often overlooked or underutilized areas, we can discover and leverage unique opportunities for innovation and improvement. And finally, the 12th principle is use and respond creatively to change. The permaculture design principle, use and respond creatively to change, emphasizes the ability to adapt and respond innovatively to changes in the environment. This principle recognizes that change is a constant, inevitable factor in any system, and by embracing it proactively, we can turn potential challenges into opportunities for innovation and improvement. This approach allows permaculture systems not only to survive but to thrive, adjusting to new conditions and continuously evolving. This principle is rooted in the idea that change should not be resisted or feared, but seen as an opening for development and refinement of systems. In natural ecosystems, change drives evolution and diversity. In permaculture, we take a similar approach, using changes, whether environmental, technological, or social, as catalysts to improve our designs and practices. Applying this principle involves various adaptive and creative strategies, such as flexible design, continuous monitoring, and learning and innovation. Responding creatively to change brings substantial benefits to permaculture systems, including enhanced resilience, long-term sustainability, and continuous innovation and improvement. Concrete examples of applying this principle: implementing permaculture techniques that allow farmers to quickly adjust crop types or cultivation methods in response to climate or economic changes. Developing water management systems that can be adapted in response to changes in water availability, such as expandable rainwater harvesting systems or adjustable irrigation methods. Use and respond creatively to change is an essential principle to ensure that permaculture systems not only withstand, but also benefit from the dynamics of a changing world. This principle challenges us to think flexibly and innovatively, ensuring that we continue to evolve and improve our practices in harmony with natural and human changes around us. Thus, these permaculture design principles guide the creation of productive systems that are ecologically sound and economically viable, providing a sustainable environment for future generations. Having reached this point, you not only understand the fundamental principles of permaculture, but have also discovered how they offer tangible and realistic solutions to the urgent problems of our time. From increasing environmental resilience to fostering social and economic justice, permaculture is not just about planting differently. It's about thinking differently. Through its ethical approach and careful design, permaculture offers a pathway to rebuilding our relationship with the environment, promoting systems that are both ecologically sound and economically viable. For consumers and producers alike, learning and integrating these principles is not merely a choice, but an urgent necessity to ensure a sustainable future for all. Adopting permaculture can be the first crucial step on your journey to becoming part of a lasting solution for the health of our planet and the prosperity of its communities. See you next time, and let's move toward a bountiful Earth.